Yo, 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 everybody. Reality After Show, what's going on? We are in the finale, episode 10 of The Snake, The Last Bite. It's your hosts, Foate the Goat, Kristin, and Lindsay. Holy crap. We have finally crowned the Snake. Kristin, what's up? How did you feel about watching that?
That's all I'm going to do right now because I don't want to spoil for people who haven't seen it yet. So yay for that.
Lindsay, what a season, man.
What a season. I don't know if I'm more excited for the winner or if I'm more excited for Travis Kelce because two people, one prize.
Oh, dear God.
Damn, you just ripped that Band-Aid off for Kristin, man. Holy.
I've not been more annoyed all day than seeing this completely repetitive bullshit happening on my newsfeed. Nobody cares.
Everywhere.
You might have just ruined her whole day.
I know you did. Now I'm gonna listen. I was drinking for excitement. Now I'm gonna have to drink because I'm annoyed. No, I'm just kidding.
No, the Travis Kelce stuff is on my local news channel. My husband was like, "Is this that big a deal?"
Newsworthy people. Good Lord. All right, let's get into the Snake thing.
So I think we're gonna rip the winner Band-Aid off real quick. So spoiler alert, give us a quick 30 seconds. We just gotta get it out of here. I want to give a big congratulations to Frankie for winning the Snake season 1. Holy crap, was that a crazy one?
Slay all day, baby!
Go, Frank!
I think we all were alluding to this at some point throughout our journey here. So I'm glad that we all are on the right side of the victory here. I want to give you two your chance to, talk about the winner real quick, and then we're going to go through the entire episode. We'll start with Kristin. Kristin, how do you feel about how it all shaked up for our boy?
I'm actually really upset. I couldn't stand Frank this entire season. He was the worst player. Okay, come on. I have literally been Team Frank all from day one, second one, obsessed, love Frank. I'm so excited. He popped a quad. I was like, please let this not be the time that he goes out. There are things happening in this episode. I was on the edge of my seat. Then we're getting random how this goes down. I can't wait to get into how this final Snake worked. But
yes.
I'm so happy for Frank. I could not be more ecstatic for him. Kudos to every one of those final 6, though. I posted on my story earlier. Yes. They all had a reason to win for different reasons, and I stand by that. So all of them should be incredibly proud of the game they played, but I'm freaking pumped for Frank. So cheers. Love you. Okay. All right. I'm so excited.
Lindsay, how excited are you?
I'm so excited for Frank as well. Congratulations to the full cast, to the final 6, and what ended up being a really fun end of the season. So everyone did a great job. But Frank, I was a bit late jumping onto this. As I told you a couple of days ago, I may not podcast if you don't win because I'll cry. And I was a bit late because everyone in my personal life was like, oh my God, it's Frank. I was like, yes! So let's go.
So I won my money shirt for the winner. So, of course, Frank, congratulations. I also feel that you had a great social game, which we'll get into more of why I think that you deserved this win. But I do want to get to the how the episode kind of shook up, because we had no idea how this entire ending game was going to work. We had all these theories. I swear to God, I thought they were going to just keep competing or something until the final. Kristin was pretty much the one that kind of was the closest to this theory. What did you say specifically? I
did say this off. I hinted towards a little bit of it last week on our live, but then once we logged off the live, I really honed in on to what I actually thought was going to happen. Which, I thought that this would be a 2-challenge type of situation and have the final 2 go at it and have the jury of the people that have come before them vote for them to win. So I was somewhat on the right track, but they really threw me for a loop there at the end. I'm so excited to talk about it. I haven't, honestly, Austin and I, we've talked about this, and Lindsay, I'm not sure how you feel about it, but a lot of the times reality TV is starting to feel repetitive in the kind of the ways that we see. We already know how this is going to go down, and, we're going to have a jury vote here and this, that. The way that the Snake has kind of turned us all on its head this entire season has been kind of a breath of fresh air. And I shouldn't say we, I'm not going to speak for you guys. I have given a lot of shit to Snake and the Fox and all those things. And I'm still going to give them a little bit here tonight. But to give me that little bit of a fresh air where I was jaw on the ground, had no idea. Thank you for that, because it was amazing.
Yeah, I'm going to echo what Kristin said here. I thought the last half of the episode, very refreshing, very new, very much enjoyed that. I do some critiques the first 30 minutes, which I'm sure we'll get into as Austin goes throughout the gameplay.
We probably have very similar thoughts on the critiques that you're talking about, because I'm pretty sure Kristin and I mentioned right off the bat how we felt about the first part of this episode.
But Austin, because you and I did talk about this. What were your thoughts on how this, like, kind of this surprise ending appeared for us? Like, what were your thoughts on this?
I'd never really expected it. I expected some sort of jury to, like, vote, just because I'm so used to it in, like, all the games. Like, everything but Traders, I feel like, that I watch is, like, decided on who you've gotten rid of. But in the Snake, I mean, it's based off of the snakes. And then you have to basically eliminate all the snakes out until there's one snake left to choose the winner. So I don't know, it's just really backwards, and it is refreshing. It's interesting, you know what I mean? But we'll get to that in a sec, because I want to talk about how the hell this episode started, because I did not expect it to just spin on its wheels immediately. I mean, they said it was 7 minutes after the ceremony. They got the cast of 6, and Jim's like, all right, you guys are playing 2 challenges. The 2 winners are going to the finale, and the rest of you losers are sent back in your boxes. I was like, God damn, they are just 100% going. And literally the first challenge is you have to roll die, and you have to get the snake eyes, and you go to the finale if you hit the snake eyes. I mean, really? That's one of the last challenges? I don't know.
Frank said it best. Like, it was like 2 seconds in, buckle up for safety. Jim is here for what ungodly known reason. And did we really oh gosh, guys, listen, I don't want to start off early complaining, but this is giving very much dinner plate, and I'm over it. Like,
not the dinner.
$100,000. Like, we saw this in Squid Games too. Like, I mean, you're playing rock, paper, scissors for this amount of money. Like, this just seems a little bit insane. And I felt very much like this was Survivor 41. Let's throw everything in here and we're going to eliminate a bunch of people. Like, this was just, I felt like maybe there should have been challenges. Like, the snake eye is fine. Then that person goes on. Then, you know what I mean? And then, like, maybe bring in this second challenge, which I thought was a little bit more challenge-esque worthy. With, like, maybe the final 3, but to get rid of like those people right off the bat is just insane to me. But Snake Eyes rolling.
Lindsay?
I'm going to agree. If I've been playing all these weeks, I've been working my strategy the whole time, made all these friends, and you're at the final 6, this finale, and it's a game of chance. That's not how I want to go out.
And that's so funny that you say that exact statement, because that's exactly what I was saying when Chris and I were watching. I was like, bro, you're literally going to tell me I just played all these weeks just to get to the final 6 and told that 2 die are going to basically figure out how I'm going to go home. I mean, it's just annoying. I don't know. But, I mean, that's probably the only part I was like, oh, about this episode, to be honest. So after this part, I was like, okay, this was a great episode. But I don't know. It was just interesting. And I guess it just goes back to the whole snake, though. I mean, like, we've had challenges like this throughout the season. So maybe that was their entire plan. You know, there's going to be luck based, and then there's going to be real, chance based. So I don't know. Just food for thought, though. But anyway, we're getting to the actual challenge, and all 6 are rolling die. And our boy Brett is the first one to get it. I mean, he only did it on try 2, which was kind of crazy, and had Jack kiss his freaking die. So
I love it. Jack's like, I just kissed the hand that might be sending me home, which is hilarious. Like, it's insane. But
yeah, also was pissed with those die. I feel that.
Yes, we all feel that. I do have to point out something that I thought was very cute, but I also have to make a little joke about it. Is that poor Derek? This is where, of course, Derek is going to go out here, because the last person to get the snake eyes is out automatically. But I love that he was like, today is Lucy's birthday. Like, again, I brought up before as a parent, like, missing a first birthday, that's a huge thing. But my little joke is it was snake eyes, meaning 2. Maybe if it was her second birthday, it would have been the luck. But no, it was adorable to have that moment to like shout out her birthday. And I did message him, and I used my inner rock star from Big Brother and said, those dice on your daughter's birthday, how dare they? Like, it was a good moment. But I just love that he was able to still incorporate his daughter even in a very intense moment. So love that, Derek.
Yeah, unfortunately, Derek is the one that rolls 0 snake eyes, and he's pretty much evicted from this goddamn area and thrown into a box within like the first 7-10 minutes of this, which sucked because Derek was like kind of the one that was hanging on a cliff like half of the season, and then boom, it's literally not even anything to do with anyone getting rid of him. It's just the fact that he couldn't roll snake eyes to save his life.
100%. He's been climbing up this mountain this whole season. I've been one of his biggest cheerleaders this whole season, so it's rough to see him go that way, especially with the dice roll. But glad that he got to celebrate his daughter's birthday in one way. And Kristin, I think that's a great idea for birthday number 2, snake themed, double eyes, something for
Yes.
Lucy. Birthday number 2.
For Lucy's second birthday. No, I mean, again, we can sit here until we're blue in the face and preach about how this was just trash. But Derek, again, like this is where the ironicness of it is when I've talked about making that post and pointing out kind of why they all had that reason to win. Derek was my very strategic one. For him to go out on something there's not any strategy about, it's like a double-edged sword there. It sucks.
Yes. Can we very quickly talk about what a good sport Derek was? Because I've been like throw the clipboard sort of thing if I were him. And he was such a good sport about it, going out that way and throughout the rest of the episode. So I'm very happy for him. Wish he got further, but thought he's a great sport the whole time.
No, I agree. He did a great job of composure leaving there. I know I would have been bitter as hell. Maybe not as like Catherine bitter, but like definitely a little bitter.
You would have been throwing the dice at Jim Jeffries. You'd be like,
you're kidding me? Just toss it
right at him.
So how climactic is this that you have the 2 bros versus the trio of this season? I mean, seriously, we were talking about how there's a trio of bros and this trio of Jordan. I don't even have my list up. Hold on.
Frank and Alyssa.
Frank. No, I know. I need my list up for later. But
come on, bro.
We have our trios, and -1 Devontae's dead, whatever. But you have all these guys in the final 5, and I think it's just crazy because we've been like literally talking about these groups, and they're all just here at the final 5. I mean,
I think this is my biggest like, what were they doing in this like game? Because you always target the groups. Like, I don't understand how they survive. Like, they seem to target each other, but then at the end they're just like working together, and then they became this giant group. Like, you guys were screwed. Everybody else that was not in that was screwed. So yeah,
I feel like they never like final fought each other just because the 6 got to this point, and then the snake kind of just that part was done. You know what I mean? So they never got the final clash to like finish off the bros or finish off this trio. So like, yeah, I don't know. I mean, Alyssa almost went home last episode, so she's now in the final 5. So good with her. They kind of just jump right into the second challenge, unless you guys have anything else to say. I mean, they really fast forwarded this right into this.
The only thing I am going to say is right before this, and I brought it up to you, I was like, did you see that? That was hilarious. I laughed. That right before they start this challenge, we have our bros separated by Frank, and they do this fist pump, and Frank's like, hi, I'm right here. I about died. He was so not having that fist pump. But they were like, yeah, we got this, and Frank's just like, his face in the background was hilarious. I laughed so hard.
Yeah, and I guess if there's one food for thought right before it, there was a big part about Brett basically saying Jack needs to win this. He has a good chance with these 3 being less physical competitors than him, which, I mean, they walk in and it is somewhat of a physical competition here, right? They have to not only remember the 12 professions as they went out the door, but they also have to physically put in basically a spelling puzzle on their goddamn professions. So, I mean, not only are you thinking this entire time, you have to remember how to spell the damn word. You have to remember what profession everyone was and how they went home. So, I mean, this was a loaded challenge, and it's 4 of them competing here.
Yeah.
I mean, you had Frankie and Alyssa. They were pretty much doing good the entire time. I mean, they were always coasting on Jack here. I think Jordan was just behind, but everyone was kind of on pace, if I'm not forgetting. But
no, I think they all were. Like, I mean, I think Jack had an early lead, as we saw, and then the other 3 were kind of like just there together. And then at some point, I mean, obviously that teacher thing really screws him up here, and cost him some valuable time, which allowed Frank and Alyssa to kind of come up. I see Jordan struggling a little bit. She kind of fell out of it for a second. And then we're going to get to Frank getting hurt here, which I know we're going to talk about too, that's where I got extremely worried. But then I think that's what led Alyssa to be as close as she was to Frank there too. So a lot of like back and forth in this challenge. It really was anybody's challenge to win.
Yeah, it was pretty much the downfall of Jack 100% was him getting stuck on the teacher with Kristin. I barely remember her name.
It was Kristin. Come on. I wrote it down.
So bad at this.
I was screaming at the page.
She's the only name I can't remember from everyone.
We're so bad
I've seen her 7 times full. But I mean, I would have been like Jack too. I'd have been like, what the fuck? There's a teacher in this house.
Okay, I feel like this challenge is something that from the couch, it seems so simple, but if you're actually doing it, it's really time consuming. You're mentally exhausted, way harder than you would expect.
Most definitely. It gave me, it gave me like Final Challenge, An Amazing Race vibe.
Yeah.
Like, when they're going through like readers or, you know what I mean, where you're really having to remember like the order and things like that. So this was probably one of my favorite challenges that they had this entire season. So, not dinner plate and dice, but here we are.
It hit the theme that they were very strong on too, because they really classified these people based on their professions pretty much throughout the entire season. So,
yeah,
I mean, it makes sense that, hey, you guys better have been paying attention, like who went out where. So, no, I agree. I mean, we'll just cut to the chase because the major part of this challenge is when Frank basically, I don't know what the fuck he did to his quad there, but it looked like he kind of like slipped and then it popped his quad. And I mean, I know those feelings. I've popped not only my quad before, but my calves, and that is not a fun, muscle to just basically pop. So he's on the ground while Jack's trying to figure this shit out. And I think Alyssa's still kind of going. I think Jordan kind of is watching, but I mean, he's contemplating, do I get the medic? Do I get up and just power through this? I'm almost done. And I mean, he gets up because he's like, screw it. I'm here for 100K. I mean, I'm not going to just, wuss out here now. So everyone's getting to the mad scramble and our boy's on one freaking leg hopping around. I mean, that's just hilarious, but he ends up, I mean, they don't really make it as climactic here, but I'm like 99% sure Alyssa was like almost done as well. I mean, it literally said she had one left and it looked like she had like one fucking board left to put in her box, but Frankie gets it and he ends up winning this second challenge against Jack, who I think was 2 behind, and I think Jordan was 3.
Yeah,
they're close.
I agree. I think a lot of things for this to be an hour show, we're losing 4 people like in a matter of 30 minutes.
Yeah.
I think that they did cut out a lot of things. A couple of fun things that I saw. Brett's not like hanging on, like he really knows like he's got to work this and he needs Jack in the finals there. So seeing him like so frustrated and not be able to tell Jack that the teacher is Kristin, like you see him piecing in the background, just like constantly
literally like
he was like, oh, like Jack, what are you doing? We should have studied, but I mean, Frank there sitting on the ground. I mean, we've seen it in Survivor that typically when somebody falls down like this or gets hurt, they make everybody stop, like pause where you're at.
Yeah.
And Jim just kept Survivor. Jim just kept going, and I'm like, wait, make everybody pause, wait, like, give Frank a freaking minute. Like I was freaking out. But and I've had knee injuries and things like that too from playing sports. Nothing is fun about that, especially when you're like racing against the clock and against other people where you really need your legs to work. So I mean, again, kudos, Frank. Like he even mentioned it. Like I haven't won anything all season. I mean, most of them he didn't try to for his own social gain. But I mean, this is the one to come out for. And he's like, nope, I'm not going out like this. I'm standing up and I'm going to, use that board as a crutch. And he did. And
Lindsay?
I loved it. I'm so glad that Frank ended up going through with this challenge. Like, I was seriously worried he was really hurt at the time. So very glad that he's healthy and there's nothing like that. But also I found curious about this challenge was Brett this whole time, because I'm watching him. And is he thinking like, oh, I want Jack to win because I think I can physically beat him? Is he thinking, oh, strategically, can I physically beat him? Is it just your like buddy? Like, he was so hardcore going for Jack. I'm just wondering if there's more we're not shown why Brett was going so hardcore for Jack. So I'd be curious to ever know that from Brett.
Right. And maybe it was just he wanted his boy in the final two with him. I have no idea otherwise than that. You know what I mean?
I often wondered that too. But a couple times in this episode, it did seem like they knew they were going to come back and like judge them. Right. I don't think they knew exactly how. And I think that, it's shown kind of when Jim tells them at the end, like how that ending's going to go. But they did seem shocked that those people were coming back to judge them. And I think Brett even says something in the episode along the lines of like, I know who we needed to be there and who didn't. So I think more so Brett was wanting Jack there to know that Frank or whoever, Frank, Alyssa, Jordan, out of those trio, they didn't have a lot of people sitting in that jury that would help them. And so I think that that's kind of maybe where Brett was thinking, but I'm not 100% sure. And I think that was kind of on an editing issue.
That makes a lot of sense. And Brett, I would love to know the answer to that question.
Well, I do want to say, before we continue this, before I forget this entire thought that I've been forgetting like 5 times now, I just wish that the season kind of, I guess what I'm going to say here is there is 2 things in this episode other than the start that I was kind of like about. Why did they bring 6 people to this finale and then do this is kind of where I'm at. I mean, it seemed like they had the flow before they brought in 2 random people throughout the season to have like a final 4 here, which in my opinion, a final 4, I think would have been amazing at like this stage. Like, sure, maybe cut one of them at the Snake Eyes still. Now it's 3. And then, I don't know, that just makes a little more systematic sense to me than you have these 6 still, because I kind of almost wish I got to see another snake kind of be done with this group. Like, this was such a interesting dynamic of 6 that I almost feel like it would have been a crazy snake. You know what I mean? I don't know about your guys' thoughts on that, but that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Lindsay, you go first.
Ooh, that's a hard thing to answer, because I was also questioning why they brought people back. I thought maybe it's the last people of the jury voted out. Then we find out, oh, it's the people that were actually snakes. And someone please correct my memory. I was like, was it Mena? Was she technically the snake in episode 1 when she chose teams or not? Like, so we're just interested in why they chose the people they chose and how that technically worked out. And then also, yeah, I was thinking more of like a classic jury. I do love at the end, we'll talk about how it ended up working out, but I was thinking more like we're going to remove one of the first 2 in the final 6, not where we had them at the end. So it was not what I expected. It was fun, just not what I expected.
Yeah, I think this felt very rushed for a finale, being that we did have 6 people. And I'm right there with you, Austin. I think having the 3 versus 3 would have been a fantastic snake to see who would have come out on top.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that you could have accomplished what you were doing to bringing back the past snakes, letting them choose who to take out. Because you end up at the same situation, right? So I guess if Frank didn't survive, then he wouldn't have been there at the end because he was never a snake. But yeah, I think that would have been an interesting dynamic to see who won that final snake to get control of the 3v3. And yeah, did we need 2 extra snakes? I guess Frank would probably say yes to seeing how this season ended, but I think it would have been fine without the 2 that we got mid-season, because I think that this felt like a very rushed finale, like you were saying.
Yeah. So pretty much kicking it back off to where I ended it. You got the 2 guys that are the last standing. They kind of have their celebratory, night. They're eating. Brett's basically saying like he thinks this is like semi a charade that Frank's feeling bad for himself. He doesn't think he is. And Frank's basically like, oh my God, I never thought I'd be here, which we are seeing it's pretty realistic, but I can see why in Brett's eyes it maybe is game, because that's the clear two differences here, right? Brett's very game, like very playing this to a strategy, which I didn't expect him to be very strategic, like up until his almost doom when Devontae saved his ass. But I mean, Frankie was doing the emotional game the entire time, like socially, and I mean that's what got him here. So he's just being unique, his authentic self, and it kind of is that moment where it's dividing the two games, in my opinion. Like, this is how one person played and this is how the other played, and they're kind of getting us ready to see how this final ceremony goes. Did you guys kind of see, like, I'll ask Lindsay this and then I'll ask Kristin this. Lindsay, did you kind of see it like that, how different of a game they both played, or did you kind of just see them as, oh, they just played the snake and got to the end?
Oh, no, I think they played polar opposite games. I wish we got to see a little bit more of both their games, especially in the finale, because I think might have things been left out by production. But Frankie, he's your social player. He's the heart of the show. You cannot help but cheer for him. He's making friends with everybody. Derek did great. Like, Alyssa, Jordan, everyone did great too. But going specifically to Brett, he was a very athletic player. And I think he was a very strategic player that we almost sometimes didn't get to see. But if we even go back to him in episode 2 or 3, when we see McLean and Jack are a couple, and Devontae and Amanda are kind of a couple, Brett and Derek are talking about, oh, we need a second person too. Mm-hmm. And it starts there. So Brett, I really think he's been playing the whole time. It's like Frankie, just very different ways of playing the game.
That's a great point. Kristin?
No, I 100% agree with Lindsay. I mean, we see a very dominant person that is Brett in the strategy and the gameplay and all of that. And Frank is a very social player. And the crazy thing about these games is no matter how we're going to pick, whether it's a Survivor, an Amazing Race, no matter what game it is out there, at the end of the day, it is always extremely social. And I think that is where Brett did a lot of these people did an amazing job. The only one I was somewhat critical on was Amanda, that she seemed to kind of put herself into just a couple people. Was that I just think that Frank was able to excel over that just by his own his personality. And I think that you gravitate towards somebody like that otherwise you would, you know what I mean? Brett could be somebody that you view as this bro and the jock, there might be people that are having the high school trauma come back up. It was I was the geek in high school and Brett was the one that was making, you know what I mean? For any reason, people could have something pop up, and to no fault of Brett at all. But I think that just kind of the social dynamics that come into these reality games is really fascinating to me.
And we find out in a little bit how impactful the social game actually is in this game. So we get to the ceremony and we have our two finalists in the pit. Jim basically does what I just did, kind of told how each person got to the end here. One by connections, others by their brute strength. And he invites them up to the top because he's going to unleash probably the shock of the season for me, at least. I mean, not the part where we're having people come back, because we knew that's coming back, but the fact that only the people who have won the snake are coming back. I thought we were getting maybe from when the power was used up, from when John first was allowed to use a power, but no, it's just the snakes. So we don't see people like Amanda, Devontae. We didn't see police officer chick Haley. I mean, we weren't seeing certain players, Cody, Brian. I think I've named Christine, but
Mena,
yeah, another one. Poor Lindsay. But
I'm waiting for you to name it.
Maybe that was trying to give you your intro there. But basically, we have our snakes, and there's 8 snakes pretty much here. So they all pop out. Some of them have won twice. And then we also find out which this was even probably more shocking to me. They're literally the two people in the finale is literally picking them one by one to not choose a winner until there's one left that is going to choose the winner here, which, I mean, Kristin kind of talked about a little bit earlier here, but what an interesting, you know, kind of mix up here. I mean, this is kind of crazy. I'd never seen it. Like I said earlier, I've never seen this before, and it's just kind of a breath of fresh air. So, I mean, obviously we're going to get to who's the decision maker here, but I think we need to talk about this process of elimination because, I mean, I know Kristin had a huge what the hell. I mean, I have a decent what the hell right off the bat, but they both get to pick basically, you know, together the first person to go off, and then because that would make an uneven number, they both get 3, and then there's going to be 1 left. So,
well, I remember like right before this started, I mean, first of all, I mean, before what I remember seeing that, I said this to you while we were watching, I was like counting the crates behind them, and I'm like, wait, I wrote them down. This isn't adding up. Where are the extra crates? But then we also like talked about too, like, okay, well then I guess the first person, maybe it was because Brett rolled the dice first, he gets the first guess because there are uneven numbers here. So like, how is this going to be fair? So I did like that they had to pick together. I know that this is where yours is going to come into play. But I think that this was like mind blowing. I was like, oh, okay, drama central, and I'm here for it. Like I was ready for it.
I think the first one was Frankie actually kind of telling Brett here, like, hey, this is who I don't want. Do you agree? Brett kind of goes, yeah. I almost feel like I don't know if he wanted, this is my thought process. So Catherine goes here, and yes, I get it. Catherine's going to be insanely, probably unbiased, crazy in her own mind. But in Brett's defense, I almost feel like, why not take the gamble? Because Catherine's extremely like game savvy, and that's your entire pitch. So why not at least keep her in the pit? Because at the end of the day, Frankie's probably going to just get rid of her, but that kind of keeps another person that you want in the pit there. So get rid of like a Mac or something there and see if at least fight for somebody instead of just saying, yeah. But that was kind of my big, like, oh, he didn't even give a shit. Like, I don't know. That was my like view on it. I was like, you're literally a gamer. Like you're literally going to talk about your game here versus how Frankie's probably going to talk about, you know, emotion and connections, and you just took out the gamer. I don't know. Did either of you have did you guys kind of just go, or did you guys kind of have an opinion on it?
I have an opinion, but I want Kristin's first.
Oh, I was going to let you go first. I feel like I've given a lot of opinions. You go first, Lindsay.
All right. So my husband and I disagreed on this one. So I'll very quickly give you both our takes. I would have not taken out Catherine first. Like, she's a gamer. She understands it. Like, she's willing to listen and put away emotional stuff. And if I was Brett versus Frankie, I'd be looking at that as well. My husband, from the very first moment, goes, thank God she's out. Get her out. We know her rules. And they show the flashback of her throughout the episodes. So we had 2 very different hot takes in the same couple seconds.
Yeah, I mean, so I went back and forth with this because I did write, I wrote all of them down that I thought were coming back. And I went by who I thought, when I originally thought this was like a jury situation, of who they would vote for. And Catherine was the only one that I did not write a Frank or a Brett for, because she seems very much not wishy-washy. That's not the right word, but she could go either way. Now, from Catherine's standpoint, we have seen, like, but they don't see this. We've seen this with her and her, like, Rule 522 and all those other things, but they're not seeing that. So I think that was a smart move to maybe get rid of the unknown. Like, you can kind of pretty much gather, and this is where I think where my like shock of it all comes into play. But I think in that mind, when they're both sitting there realizing what's about to happen, Frank knows who Brett's going to get rid of. Brett knows who Frank's going to get rid of. So what's our best consolidated decision here? Because at the end of the day, basically they're picking the same for every person that's left in the pit there. So could that have been Brett's first mistake in this final pick? possibly, because I do think Catherine probably would have picked him. But for that unknown to be there when you're gambling with the money, like, do you take that gamble or not versus what could have been a sure thing? So I think the other decision that he makes later is what really cost him.
And I can agree to all that. So we can cut to the chase because, like you said, the first two are basically the buddies of each of them. Alyssa and Jack, they just go. But Brett here, I mean, I actually had this written down, the same freaking name as you probably. I had John written down here to go, and we ended up hearing Pastor Jacob here.
Dude, I have it written down right there. Whatever, right there, and then crossed out because of his decision. So, yeah, shocked.
So I'll let you give your spiel because I pretty much agreed with it when we were watching, but I want your take to go first here on why this was such a bad move, which I agree with. It was a bad one.
I think for me, the shock value of it is where, because if you're looking at this is, if I'm sitting there in Frank and Brett's position, this is where I just talked about, we already know we're going to take out the people that are closest to you, right? And we know that John wasn't close with anybody in that house other than Frank and Alyssa. They were literally that, like, the scavenger hunt, they wanted to be the final three in the scavenger hunt. So I was extremely shocked, and to the point when he was like, I mean, you haven't been here like the whole time. And I was like, oh, this is totally John. Like, because he came in late, like, makes sense. Like, this is a good move. And then for him to say Jacob, and I'm like, what? Like, what just happened here? Because I do think that Jacob, because he was out for so long, he didn't have the chance to really create those bonds with either one of them. And I think that he would have been the most unbiased person in that pit there. And so that one really, really shocked me. And I do think that was his $100,000 mistake, was to take out Jacob there. I mean, I can't wait to hear, I'm sure Brett will, like, all these exit interviews for them. Hopefully they'll come on and chat with us for a little bit too. I would love to know why that decision was made, because I mean, did he really think that, I know that he talked about even in the episode that he really was going to stick it to John to, like, be like, you're the politician and you're the, I know that was part of his strategy, but that seemed more of a gamble to me than anything. Like, that was scary. I would not have done that. So
I agree with you 100%, Kristin, because I'm a huge Catherine stan here. She's unpredictable in a fun kind of gamey way. John, we don't know what's happening here. Why we're leaving him on this jury? Get rid of someone else. Like get rid of him, not anyone else. We don't know what he's gonna do.
No, that's a good point, because I mean, kind of to reiterate what Kristin just said, Pastor here, he already goes off of faith and how he follows his self with his beliefs. And why not have that guy pick the winner when the detectives probably got one way lean, McLean's got one way lean, Jordan's got one way lean, and the politician, our boy John here, got one way lean. So, like, you have one guy who, at least for our watching perspective, isn't completely biased at this moment. So from Brett, again, maybe Brett's POV, because maybe he has worked a little bit with John or something during the season that we don't know about, but maybe he looks at John and goes, okay, I can trust you to make a decision based on, how this game is finished. And I believe I'm the better player, so you should pick me. And I definitely think that's what we had in this moment. Whereas, in his head also, he's also thinking, all right, the pastor hasn't been here. He was cut pretty early. Does he even have enough to kind of decide who goes here? But I think this is the first red flag of how the social game works, whereas all that doesn't really matter, right? Because this is going to end up being a pick of who they just think is deserving of it. And if you're picking people that have more lean bias to stay there, like John a little bit is, because he ends up being the last one. We've been alluding to it, but I haven't said it yet. But John is the last one.
Surprise!
But, yeah, surprise. Sorry, but like, I don't know. It's a surprising one. I do want to get through them before we get to John, though. So Frankie picks Derek, Brett picks Jordan, Frankie picks McLean. None of us were really that shocked on those, but you got John there. And it's funny because he's one of the only ones that really kind of came in late, and he's the one there. So, I mean, it is an interesting perspective because, yes, he has a lot of influence during the time he was in the game. I mean, he was very talkative, had bold strategy. So maybe he is leaning a little bit of the gamer, right? Maybe in Brett's POV, he's right. But also, crying out loud, he gave a challenge advantage to Frankie. I mean, that's a tough one to battle against. And that's where I was like, damn it, Brett, bro. Like, I don't know if this was working in your hand anyway. But, I mean, getting rid of Pastor for John, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe it really didn't matter, and he was going to go Frankie anyway. But, I mean, before I get into their final speeches, I mean, what were you guys, the ending of all the picks? Did you guys pretty much agree that it was no shock value? Or
yeah, none of them shocked me except for the Jacob one. And to Brett, the last thing I'll say on Brett on this decision is that I think we've seen that Brett is an extremely smart and strategic player, and he knew he was up against a very emotional, like, friendship type of person. And so I think that might be another thing that led him to make that decision on who down there are going to lead with emotions, and like what better person to think that way than a pastor. And so I can somewhat see the thought process that Brett was going with. Because I mean, pastors they're supposed to be empathetic. They're there for you to talk to and all those things. And so I really can understand why he made that decision. I think maybe he should have, I don't know. The John trio with Alyssa and Frankie spoke more to me than maybe an empathetic pastor that would side with an emotional person. So like I said, that's the only last thing I'll say on Brett on that decision is just we know he's extremely smart. So he didn't just do that there was no he didn't do that like oopsie daisy.
Right.
Whoopsie. Like
it's this one, pick a string.
No, he really thought that one out, and in his thought process in that moment, and that's what he thought was the best move for him. And I mean, it could have gone either way, but that was definitely the gamble that I think cost him. So
yes, I mean,
sorry, go ahead, Austin.
Oh, you're fine. So basically they get their last speech here, and they both give really good ones. I mean, we've been hearing some good speeches. This was up there for sure. I mean, Frankie tells them as unique and authentic as he's been all season. Like, I was here to, for what I wanted to give back to with the cancer background in his family, with everything he's just been himself, and that's why he's here at this moment, which is all true. I mean, he stayed true to himself, never really lied. He was just the emotional guy, the person that was there for everyone else in the house, and also the guy who needed everyone's support once in a while and got it because everyone was, so close with him. So, I mean, he really put his, neck out there, and I was laughing at Brett's reaction because I almost would.
That was you.
Yeah, I was almost going to be like, I would be doing the same exact thing as Brett because it is a very strong emotional, approach at it, which Brett is not at all that gamer, right? He is I was the challenge guy. I didn't, drop out of challenges because basically I was here for 100%. And Brett is doing a very good job of trying to distinguish himself here. I will 100% give him that. He is definitely fighting for that, belief that he has in John that, the person that wins this should be someone who 100% of this game, 100% strategied this game, 100% gave it their all. Whereas, Frankie might have not have as much as me. And he gave that speech very well. I mean, Derek was even in awe. He was like, holy shit, that was good. I think the main point that also is the gamble that costs him the game here, and Kristin, Lindsay, you both can jump in after if you have the same or not same opinion, but he doesn't really focus on that social aspect of how he made his way up through this, the snake so well, where it was mostly the challenges and mostly basically trying to clear himself from Frankie. Well, I think that's the whole point of the game, right? how do you move yourself in this chain? And at the end of the day, this being such a social game, that's what Frankie did majority of this game. So, I mean, I think that might be the biggest flag in his speech that may have also costed him the gamble that he was taking, which, to be fair, maybe John was considering, Brett, but I think Brett might have not have said that one last piece. And obviously John picks Frankie here because based on hopefully not 100% bias, but I mean, Frankie did play a strategic game very well too. I mean, he literally let John get his power or, the head of Snake for the week, literally to let him demolish his own game. So, I mean, what are your guys' take on that whole final speech? I've been yapping, my opinion. We'll
Lindsay,
go first this time.
Oh my gosh, that's hard to answer. So I think Brett gave the best speech he could have given. I was so impressed with his speech. Because we saw him do the physical eliminations. He did partner with people. We're not shown. He could have talked about his relationship with Jack, his relationship with Devontae, the people he's been, McLean, anyone he's been working at through the whole season. And we just didn't quite see that from him. And I don't know if that was like, shooting yourself in the foot sort of thing. And I think that maybe even part of the reason he lost the game. And then in general, just kind of throw back to our previous conversation, I really, really wanted Jordan to be the final Snake. So I was booing when she didn't get to choose.
That's funny. I think I was literally saying I think it could be Jordan at some point too when we were watching. It's funny. Kristin?
Yeah, before I go into their final two speeches, we also have to acknowledge that they had to give their speeches to the final two, why they should stay in the pit. And I about died when John was just rambling and Derek's like, I'm so over this speech. Derek's like, he has to give a long-winded speech about everything. Just go sit out. Like, he's over it. But they also had to get them, give some speeches on why they should be there. And each of them presented some interesting facts too. But to go into this final two speech between the two, Frank, of course, 100%. Brett seemed almost a little bit shocked here. I don't know if he actually was, but he seemed a little shocked that was Frank's final speech. I was not. I anticipated all that. And of course, my heartstrings. I love that man. We know this. But yeah, I mean, that's the essence of Frank. That is the essence of Frank. But another thing that I think now, do I think that John was going to be unbiased? I still think that John probably, he did weigh some options here, but I think what could have maybe really made this a 50-50 sway, and where Brett, where you talked about Austin, is like the social thing is, and granted, we only see an edit. So Brett, if I'm wrong on this and this actually happened, I'm sorry. But I think a good thing that he could have brought in and been like, listen, not only did I play the crap out of this game, Frank's over here sitting out the challenges, which we knew why Frank was doing that. That was very smart to not make yourself the enemy by being a snake.
Yeah.
So that was strategy on its own. It wasn't just social, that was strategy. But I mean, do that regular speech, but then you throw in a little social being like, hey, remember when you guys were all against Brett and I kind of made a sideline here with Brett and then brought Brett in and then it became this thing. And that was a whole section of my social game also had to protect myself against two little showmance things that were happening.
Yeah.
Protect myself. I think if he starts showing that social side, it's not just robotic gameplay. If he was bringing in that social bit a little bit, and like you said, if Brett, if you did that, I'm sorry, I'm not saying that you did it. We only get an edit, but I think if he would have brought that up, I think that would have made it a little bit more of a closer decision for John. And John would be. I think we're all interested, but don't give us the politician answer. But I think that at the end of the day, these games, no matter how you phrase them, are always going to be social. So I think that was one thing Brett could have added to his speech that could have put it over the top. But yeah.
And that's exactly what I was kind of getting, my diagnosis on the whole speech also. So I'm glad you phrased it that way also. I mean, they basically just end the freaking show after Frankie. It was crazy. It was the quickest end I've ever seen in anything. I thought Australian Survivor was quick to end their episodes, but holy shit. It was Frankie, thank you, and then bye. I was like, okay, the snake. See, should we end it like that? Bye.
Yeah, like not only that, but like get in the crate and see you later. Bye.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'm done with this crate. I've been in here for hours. Yeah.
So I mean, yeah, final thoughts, I guess. I mean, it was a good winner. I like the winner. I like the final two, honestly. It was a good final two. Definitely think we had a few yays and nays throughout the entire season. If they do a season 2, I think they got enough critique out of us to help.
Yeah, they're definitely listening to our notes, 100%. No.
But I mean, overall, it was a good watch, mostly with the cast. I think they did a good job with the casting here. Everyone had a unique story. Everyone had a reason they wanted to be there. And nobody really, like, fished their way out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we see some shows nowadays where people kind of just tap out and they're done. Nobody really was giving up here. I mean, I guess the only give up is Pastor kind of being like, all right, Derek, stay, because I know I'm screwed. But that's really it. So I enjoyed it. This was a good watch, and I had a great time, basically talking this over with you guys. Lindsay, I want to give you the spotlight to give your final, wrap up of the season in your mind. I mean, lay it on us. How did you feel about the season? Anything?
It was an interesting season. I'm the first person to never watch a first season of something because I'm gonna hate it. All right, you got to convince me to watch it. And this one really grew on me, especially the back half of the season. I found it almost more fun talking to you guys than watching the show the first couple episodes. But then we started developing the story, and I really liked watching it as a whole. I hope there's a season 2. If there are, find us later, sort of thing. And Brett and Frankie, like, you guys were the deserving final 2. I would have been happy with whoever had won. And I am very, very happy it's Frankie. But I would have been proud of you too, Brett. So congratulations to everybody on the cast.
I do want to make it clear that this is all speculation, also what we mostly talk about here, because we only see what we see. I mean, we're hopefully going to be able to talk to some of these cast members and get their full scoop, because there is some questions we all got. I mean,
so many questions.
So many questions. Yeah, no, this is, it was we had nothing. We literally see the same edit you guys do.
So we just give our opinion, and I mean, they both played great games. Kristin, I want to hear your final wrap up. Anything you want to say before? I do want to hear it. I want to hear your whole entire wrap up now. But for real, how did you feel about the season as a whole? I mean,
yeah, I mean, I'm going to keep it short and sweet. I feel like a lot of times I go off on these tangents and I don't really mean to, but I'm just passionate about it, and I think this has been a lot of fun. But
yeah,
like, the shortest wrap up I can do is, I mean, the snake was, I mean, it was an interesting new concept. I mean, safety chains have been around for a while, but it was an interesting thing to see on our screen. The game definitely had some flaws, and we were, again, I say we, like, I'm trying to get you guys in here in the trouble with me, but I was mostly very vocal about how there are some things that I did not like. And honestly, I mean, I'm going to be honest here. I hope the snake does come back. I do hope that maybe not ours. Obviously, they're not listening to our criticisms, but I do think that they can kind of take some maybe audience, feelings on these things, because at the end of the day, what kept me coming back was this cast. This cast was phenomenal. The final 6, all of them were amazing. The ones before that, equally amazing. It's the first time that we've kind of not seen really good villains on our screen, and this was a seasoned cast full of them, and it was fantastic. And there was a lot of things that went into each person's game, and I got very invested with a lot of these people. Frank, you know where my heart is. I love you. Brett, again, like, I mean, all I could go through every single one, and I won't, because I said I was going to keep this short and sweet. So we'll leave it at that. Sorry, Brett, they're cutting me off. No, I'm just kidding.
Kristin, you'll have your chance. I'm telling you. I'm hoping that we're getting some of these, players on later in the weeks coming, and we'll, be able to kind of give our opinions if they want to hear it or not.
Listen, I put it out there. Like, I don't think they had an actual reunion. Let's get them all on here at once and do a full-on reunion for Fox.
Do it. I need Brad's opinion. I need McLean's opinion. Oh, actually, the whole cast. I need your opinion. Let's go.
Shit, Fairplay might just green light that as we're talking right now. Shit.
Come on, Fairplay.
Johnny, hear us.
But yeah, no, it's been such a pleasure with you guys, and I'm very grateful for this little trio of our own. We're not the face mask trio, but we're something. We're something.
Yeah, this was a great opportunity. I will give a short little speech here, I guess. This was the first reality TV podcast I did kind of do on my own with you two. So this was awesome doing it with you guys. I've been doing sports stuff for about 2 years now. And I remember Kristin and we pitched this, and I was like, I would absolutely do the snake. Like, this would be such a fun one, because if anyone applies for shows, this was actually called Win Them Over. And I actually was an applicant of this season. So I actually was interested in this. And when I realized they changed the name to Snake and they were premiering it, I was like, oh shit, this wasn't just one that they kind of, threw out there, seeing who they could apply. And, they actually filmed it and everything. So I remember talking to Fairplay, and he goes, okay, let's do it. I got a co-host for you. And I was like, oh shit. Okay. I guess I'll meet her. And we both, Lindsay, I'm speaking to you, of course.
Oh.
We both just randomly DM each other at the same time. But Fairplay's like, get the fuck down. It was really funny. It was probably the funniest random message we probably have sent, at the same time to somebody ever. But of course, then Kristin pops in, because I was like, of course I know who would be into this. So this was a great trio, sorry. And I think it was a successful run at it. So thank you two for, joining in on this. Hopefully we have some more snake content for everyone. If you guys have certain contestants you want to hear from, please comment below. We're going to definitely try our best to get the ones that were the bulk of the season, some that are interested, of course. Maybe some reunion if we can pull a magic out of, the hat. But hopefully there's a little more from the snake from, behind the scenes. But I think that's it. I think that's the wrap up. I'm going to do my close with my
quality after show and Jonny Fairplay as well. So thank you.
And toss the notebook because it's gone. So that's it. That's 10 episodes. We started this in June and we're done. See the snakes over. Where can you find them before we dip? Vote the go. Football starts. Texas is winning. Lindsay, where can we find you?
You had to start with that, sir. Sir. Boomer Sooner. Find me at Lindsay Harper on Instagram. That's about it. And shout out to Kristin, because I've been watching all the stuff she's been hosting within the last couple of weeks. So take it away, Kristin.
Mama Two Warriors on Instagram, but we make the joke every time we end this by this giant flag behind me. Vanquish Online Reality Games. We are casting for season 15, so if you want to try and play your hand at a reality TV, like get a little practice in as you apply for these, check it out. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun.
And that's it. Keep watching. Reality After Show has a great amount of shows. They're doing recaps for everything. Australia versus the world. Survivor is on right now. Go watch Fairplay chat with some of the best that's played. And that's it for us. We'll see you guys at another time. Take it easy.